from this verse. It is the plan of God, and I strongly believe that God is intended to speak to us because He is a Lord who cares for us, He's concerned about us, and He's a Lord who always intended to speak to His people by any means. As we see from the Old Testament, when God wants to talk to His people, He makes somehow the way and the channel to speak to His people. When God wanted to talk to Balaam, even though there was no one, He opened the mouth of the animal. And that's the Lord we serve. He is always ready to speak to His people. So I believe that God is going to speak to hearts and God is going to touch their hearts, because if He has given me this time, given me this opportunity to speak from His word, surely God will deal with His people. And so thankful to God that God has considered me at this moment, that I am, somewhere worthy enough to speak the word. And also, I'm so thankful to GPN for their wonderful ministry, for their wonderful ministry support. They're continuously praying for the churches, praying for the ministries. And I'm always, every time when I come to GPN for any occasions, for any ministry, I always thank them for their wonderful ministry, because tirelessly there are people of God, they are volunteers, they are leaders, they are warriors. They are praying. And because of their prayers, there's so many things are happening around the world. May the Lord bless this GPN and GPN ministries and everyone who is involved in this. And I pray that the leadership of GPN will be blessed and continue to God provide GPN. And also, I'm saying thankful to Sister. Every time she considers me and she gives me opportunity to come and share the word. May the Lord bless her and Lord provide every needs of our life, because this is the verse which talks about God's provision, for specifically for the people who serve Him. As we know, in Book of Corinthians, Paul deals with all the questions and issues the church is facing, the church facing through. As we know, from the beginning till the end, the Apostle Paul, who's the one who pioneered this church and is mentoring this church and answering to them, since he's physically very far from them, and is answering their questions, answering their doubts, and as well as instructing them, leading them to become the church of God, to the bride of Christ. So, in preparing, in perfecting the church, he is answering so many things. So, in which this portion is very specifically about the people of God who's been dedicated, who's been committed, and who's been given the task of serving the Lord and Lord alone, and for their provision. Here in 1 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 14 says, "Even so the Lord has commanded that those who preach the gospel should live from the gospel." Those who preach the gospel should live from the gospel. So that's what we are looking after. We are seeing God's provision. And this He is trying to quote to the people from the Old Testament, where God assigned Levites to be a tribe separated for God and for God's work. If you read through the previous verses, where He clearly says, did not God order this? Did not God set this order? Because, when we see after the Israelites came out of Egypt, God assigning every tribe a portion of land and giving them to do something for their own survival, for their family, and many other things. But among them, God separates a particular tribe, which we know it's a Levite tribe. They are separate solely for service of God. Among the Levites, the family of Aaron was totally dedicated to serve inside the temple and for their provision and to the entire Levites type position, the provision is the Lord's house, the temple of the Lord. I know that's where their provision is, and that's where their shelter is. Everything is from there for them from the temple of the Lord. So quoting to that, referring to that, he's talking over at this place and telling to the church that the people who are serving the Lord, or people who gave their life for the gospel, will live from the gospel. So the thing which is highlighted to me, the thing which was was trying to say from this passage, first thing is talking about the people who are separated of the gospel, the people who have been dedicated for the gospel. No, there is one thing which all the time many people refers about Paul. In my church, there are two young brothers like me. They're also in ministry. And one of the brother has so many obligations, like he has to send money for his parents, send money for his brother's children education, and send money for his sisters need. So many things was there. So one of the family always saying like this, why don't you go for a work? Why don't you go for a work? Why don't you go some work somewhere and earn money and send uh, uh, the support to the family? That brother is not saying that I'm not going to work. I don't want to work. But he says, whenever I go for a work, my heart gets burdened because I feel like I'm called to serve the Lord. I'm called to do the ministry of God. But instead of doing ministry, I'm here working to take care of the family. So every time they quote is, Paul supported himself. Now, Paul supported himself. Paul was a tent maker. Everybody tagged like this. Paul was a tent maker. I want to let you know, Paul was the apostle of Jesus Christ. Tent making, if you see, only one place he says, when I need support, when I needed something, I can support myself. So sometimes we make tent and we support ourselves. But if you see, there are places he says, I'm thankful for your generous support. I'm thankful for your generosity that you took care of the ministers, took care of those who people who serve the Lord. What I'm trying to say, it is not that Paul all the time, he was making tent and raising money and going for ministry. No, if he would have done like that, he could have not able to travel, because everywhere he is traveling, everywhere he's going around. So if he's going around, every time he cannot sit and make some, something out of the, bamboos and try to share it, sell it and make money, and then he can go for travel. No. The church supported him. The church paid for him. The church sometimes took care of his needs, took care of his travel. Now that is why he is talking to, that the people who serve for the gospel should live from the gospel. So what it highlights from this passage, first thing he wants to let them know, see, they are dedicated, or they are separated of the gospel. That's why I say those who preach the gospel should live from the gospel. He's trying to say, there are people, there are ministers, there are people of the chosen people who are separated for the gospel work. Their work is to preach the gospel. They cannot go around and spend time, going around, just making money, going around to earn money for themselves. They are called and they are separated for the gospel work. They are here for the gospel work. We need to understand, that we are separated of the gospel work. Many a times, many times. I remember there's one of my friend, he always says, he was going through very rough time financially. He was with me, and he left his hometown. He was from Andhra Pradesh. He left his hometown. He says, if I stay back in Andhra, I never feel like to be there. My heart is always for Delhi. I want to come and do ministry in Delhi. But when he comes to Delhi, there's no one to support him. There's no one because he doesn't have any church. He doesn't have people. He tries to somehow manage with other people. So many times, many people say, why don't you work? He tried. He went for the call center job. He went for certain jobs, but he never able to be there peacefully. He finds it like he's out of place. Maybe some they may claim, oh, he's a lazy, he doesn't want to work and just want to sit and earn money. This has become the thought of people. Oh, pastors, they just they are relaxed. They live a life, very easy life. They just come Sunday, they preach. They come on some weekdays in between, do some prayer. Weekdays in between, they do some study. They live a very comfortable life by sitting at one place. They are provided. That's what the thought of people. And that's how maybe the thought of the people in Corinth. They were thinking, these people, why do we have to pay them? Why do we have to give them? That's what Paul is saying. They are separated for the gospel work. They are one. Their work is to preach the gospel. That is their work. That is their separated job. If everybody thinks these people are just relaxing, they're just there, they have nothing to do, only Sunday one time they come and preach. But I challenge to those people. You might think easy, you might think it is it is very casual work. They just come and preach one Sunday and they go. But if they could able to pastor at least for a month, they'll understand. They'll understand what is there in there. Many a times in my church, people they come, they stay for a little while and they go off. But being a pastor, being serving to the church, there are so many things. The moment a family, an individual who enters the church, who wants to come and worship the Lord, the preacher, the pastor, he owns that person. He takes that person's burden in his life. He says, this is my sheep and I'm responsible for them. I need to feed them. I need to protect them. I need to take care of them. And as he takes the responsibility, so every time, anytime, he is ready to provide them, feed them the right feedings. He wants to take care of them spiritually so that the Satan will not attack them, Satan will not harm them, and trying to lead them into right direction so that they will not they will not go away, they will not go astray, they'll just focus and they'll reach to the goal. When a person walks in, the responsibility of that person entirely comes to that pastor. I always say to church, when you come into this church, when you come into this hall, immediately I take you as my own and my heart is burdened for you. Why we always see why this person did not come on this Sunday? Why this person did not come on this Sunday? Immediately call them. What happened? Are you doing well? If they are sick, just try to go and visit them and talk to them. This is what we are separated for. We are those who are separated for the work of the gospel. And our work is to preach the gospel. That's what he says. This is, those who preach the gospel, they should live from the gospel. Because that's how it was there in book of Leviticus. Because they were not given a land, they were not given anything to provide themselves, no field, nothing to work. And what Lord said to the Moses, that whatever comes into the temple, that's how they are going to be provided for. Because their work and their dedication is they are separated for the temple and they have to work for the temple. Honestly, I'm telling, dear people of God, no, it is no man, no individual will take pleasure to just to take some offerings and take some money from somebody to live a life. I tell you, the pastors are doing this because they know they are separated for the gospel. They are separated, and their life and their everything is to work for the gospel. So that is why God made the provision that those who preach the gospel will live from the gospel. That's how it is there in the Leviticus. I'm telling you, as a pastor, as a man of God, many a times people challenge, many a times people question like this: why don't you go for a work? There are times in my life, there are so many situations in my life when it came out of us, the need of the school children's education, the need of certain things in our life. Now, when it comes like this, many times Satan tries to trouble, Satan tries to push into that point where it says, why don't we go for a work? I tried myself. I remember I went for an interview for a call center. I was there. The the interviewer, he took the interview. He was satisfied, and then he forwarded me for the higher authorities. They took an interview and they were satisfied. And their time came, I have to talk to the company HR, whichever company I'm going to work for. He is to take an interview. So likewise, in that day, I attended almost 6 to 7 companies. To a certain time, I was sitting there for almost a day, attending calls calls after calls. They liked my, the way that I talk, and everything was satisfied. But still, they were not able to offer me a job. I was disappointed. I just went there just to help my friend because one of my friend was working there. He said, if you come and give an interview today, I'll get my incentives, but my salary will come. You just come and give an interview. He knows I'm a pastor. So I said, went to help him. I went there. I thought one side, if I get a job, it'll be also good so that my children's need will be provided. My other things will be provided. But I tell you, I did not get a job. I don't know why, what was the reason. But in the moment I was sitting there, the thought was in my mind throughout the day, throughout the time when I was there giving interviews, who you are, what you are called for, who you are, what you are called for. The day when I was called for ministry, when the day I dedicated my life for my ministry, I was from a Hindu background and I did not know about anything about organizations. I did not know anything about that the organizations are there. They support the minister, they support the ministry. Nothing I did not know. Because I was from a independent church, very small church, and I thought I'll just go for a ministry. I don't even expected that that pastor also will support me. I was from a Hindu background. God saved me, and I gave my life to Jesus. And I was totally, convicted that I should go for the work of the Lord. And I gave myself to the Lord. I never asked any question. I never demanded anything from God. I did not say that I needed this kind of lifestyle. I did not ask that this much of salary I should have. Nothing I have asked. I just, gave my life to the ministry. From that day till today, God is taking care. God is leading me. God is providing me. But many times people thinks, the people think in this way that, their pastors are very casual, very easy. They are there once in a week and Sunday they come and preach and they will be provided. It is not so easy, dear people. It's not so easy. When challenges come, when needs come, when things rises up, many a times we are challenged, many a times we feel like, how I'm going to provide. So first thing it shows here that we are what we are called for, that we are separated for the work of the gospel. So the gospel will be my survival. I will live from the gospel. I will live for the gospel. I will live from the gospel. And it is not easy that anybody can do. There's one brother, the ministry which I'm doing here in this place initially used to bring me by two-wheeler. I used to come along with him because I did not have a vehicle. So my pastor told him, take him to this place for the ministry. But that brother was with my pastor for many years. And one day he invited me for a for a lunch to his home. So we all family was there, and I was sharing, the certain things, certain struggles, certain challenges which I had while I was doing ministry. So then he said to his wife, "See, this is why, I cannot live like this. I cannot do this. My pastor wanted that brother to become a leader for this church, what I'm ministering today, that he will take care of this area. He will do ministry here. He gave him Bible study. He did so many things for him, but he could not. He did not. When I came and joined this pastor, he sent me over here and I become the pastor of this church. And I'm still now, it's almost 23 years in this place doing ministry. But in the year 1995, I gave my life for ministry, for the full-time work of the Lord. Since then till now, it's almost 31 years. The Lord is so gracious. And every time, it is only by the gospel. It is because of the gospel I am provided. That brother said, it is not easy. I cannot, do like this. There are people, by their lips, they have said like this. When I came into ministry, I said to the Lord, Lord, I will come to you, but I cannot, sacrifice. I cannot, leave out the lifestyle. I cannot leave out what the way I am now. You have to provide me. I was wondering, why didn't not I ask the Lord like this? They are living in that way. And what I want to say is, we might think, people might think anyways, they are very easy, they are doing like this. But I tell you, surviving with the provision of the gospel, it is not easy. It is not easy. There are times my children ask certain things. I'm not able to provide them. But they don't have any complaint because they know we are here for the gospel work. They are with the worldly children. They go for education, they go for the school, they are going for the college, but there are many other worldly kids are there. Their lives, their things are different. So they themselves feel, why don't we have such things? But still, they don't have any complaint. Even the people in the church, they see their lifestyle, they see what their things they have, and what all the pleasures they have, and we don't have. The children sometimes feel, why we are not having such blessings. We don't have such things into our life, but they don't complain. They know we are separated for the gospel work. We are for the gospel. And I'm telling him, so thankful to God. God gave such a wonderful children that they never, claim anything. Please keep my son in your prayer. Today is his birthday. He completed 13 years. Since Monday, my heart was so burdened. And I was saying to my wife, I couldn't even buy him a good clothes for this birthday. So my son said to my wife, what is new clothes? That is not necessary for me. We can buy anytime, no? Now, when you live for the gospel, God bless your people, God bless your family in such a way. They will stand with you, they will support you. And that's how I'm so thankful to God that God gave me such a wonderful children. They understand that we are for the gospel and we are separated for the gospel. May the world may have other pleasures, may the world may have other things, but we are people of gospel. We are separated for the gospel. So they don't have any demands. My one daughter is in college now, other children are in school. Even though there are so many things, they never demand. So thankful for a blessed wife. You know, every other woman, they go for parlors, they go for shopping every month, they go for so many things. But we have been married for 23 years. And this 23 years, not even once she has complained that I'm not able to go to parlor, that I'm not able to go to shopping every month. Because the day when she, came in contact with me, started knowing me, she also dedicated her life for the service of the Lord and decided that we will live from the gospel. And till today, whatever we have, it is from the gospel. So the first thing it says, we are separated for the gospel work. Second thing it says, we will be only provided from the gospel. Our provision and our survival is from the gospel. Finally, I just wanted to encourage. This shows, when God was saying to the Levites, we will not give you land. I will not going to give you land. I'm not going to give you field to work and take care of your needs. I'm not going to give you money. No, nothing. Whatever comes in temple, in that you're going to survive. What he's trying to say is, I am your provider. I will provide you. So this is what it says. Even so, the Lord has commanded those who preach the gospel should live from the gospel. It teaches to us to trust in God and know that God is the faithful provider of our life. And till today, and from my life, I'm telling you, there are times, there are needs, so many challenges, whatever it may be. God has never abandoned me. God has never let me down. When I'm saying this, I'm not saying it as if I achieved everything. I have big house, I have my nice cars, or so many facilities I have. No, there are needs are there still today. There are things to be taken care. Every morning I'm asking God how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to take care. Today, this when I'm speaking to you, God is encouraging me, God is comforting me and saying to you, saying to me also that I have called you and your survival is in me only. I will provide you. And God is faithful. He will surely provide. Everyone who gave their life for his service will never, ever, not even single moment will be abandoned. God will take care. God will provide because God is faithful and God is good. So trust in God. When you are called for his work, give your life for his service. Give your life for him. He will take care. And that's why God says, the Bible says, the one who is called us, he is faithful. So our provision is our God only. God himself will provide. Those who preach the gospel will live from the gospel. Let the name of the Lord be glorified. And I give all glory, honor to God. And I pray that everyone who hears, anytime you're going to hear, Lord will encourage him. Lord will empower him and confirm him that his sustainability, that his everything is from the gospel. The Lord who has called is faithful. He will surely provide. God bless.